From Florence to Frankfurt, Paris to Prague, a cross-border vaccination program of unprecedented scale was launched in Europe on Sunday. After European governments were criticized at the start of the coronavirus pandemic for failing to work together, the hope now is that a coordinated response will ensure equal distribution of vaccines across the region, home to 450 million people. The EU has secured contracts for more than 2 billion vaccine doses and has set a goal for all adults to be inoculated during 2021. At the front of the queue in Germany on Sunday was 101-year-old Gertrude Haas, who received Berlin's first vaccination at her nursing home.
It
is very dangerous. We hear and read about it, and there are so many people dying in other homes. It is horrible, and that is why it is so good that we can be vaccinated against it. It is a big advantage for all of us who live here.
In Rome, nurse Claudia Alivanini was among 3 healthcare staff to receive Italy's first shots of a vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech. She urged other Italians to follow her example, saying medicine and science are the only means we have. Surveys suggest there are high levels of hesitancy towards the vaccine in populations across Europe, prompting leaders of the 27-nation European Union to promote this as the best chance to get back to something like normal life next year. While Europe has some of the best resourced healthcare in the world, the sheer scale of the operation has seen some countries call retired medics back into service, while others have loosened rules on who is allowed to give the shots. Outside the EU, Britain, Switzerland and Serbia have already started vaccinating their citizens in recent weeks.
A new variant of the coronavirus on Saturday was detected in Canada and Sweden. Japan said it's temporarily banning non-resident foreigners from entering the country. The ban takes effect Monday and will run through January. It comes after Japan on Friday confirmed its first 5 cases of the new faster spreading variant in passengers arriving from the UK. Over in Canada, officials confirmed 2 cases of the variant that were first detected in the UK. Health officials in Ontario said the cases were discovered as the province went into lockdown on Saturday. A couple in southern Ontario with no known travel history had tested positive. In Sweden, the variant was detected in a traveler from the UK who had become ill. The Swedish Health Agency said the traveler had been isolated and that no further cases had been detected.
Hundreds of mourners joined a procession in Talac province, north of the Philippines capital on Sunday, during what should have been a festive season. They were there to bury a mother and son killed by an off-duty police officer. 52-year-old Sonia Gregorio and her 25-year-old son Frank were shot in the head during a heated argument on December 20th by police officer Jonel Nuesca. The argument began after Frank set off a boga, an improvised air cannon used to celebrate the new year. A video of the incident shared online has sparked outrage across the Philippines. It was taken by a member of the Gregorio family and shows Sonia wrapping her arms around her son as the row intensifies, and Nuesca shooting her in the head before doing the same to Frank. Nuesca shot Sonia again before fleeing the scene. He surrendered to police later that night and faces 2 counts of murder. Avelina San Jose, a relative of the Gregorios, said the victim's family has forgiven Nuesca, but still hopes for justice. Critics and rights groups say President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs has created a culture of police impunity. Police reject this. The president has talked of killing criminals and issued promises to protect law enforcement. Duterte has condemned the shooting, warning they will be held to pay for rogue officers.
Federal agents on Saturday searched a 2-story suburban home about 11 miles southeast of Nashville for clues as to why a motorhome blew up in the city on Christmas Day. A witness told Reuters officials were paying close attention to the basement. A person of interest has not been identified in what officials are calling an intentional act.
During the past 24 hours, our joint investigative team fielded nearly 500 tips
FBI Special Agent in Charge Doug Korneski told reporters on Saturday that with scores of tips, investigators were working on identifying what appeared to be human remains amid the charred wreckage of Friday's explosion. He did not say whether the remains might belong to a suspect. Hundreds of agents and local police officers are scouring the site where, on Friday,
oh my gosh,
a motorhome blaring a recorded warning blew up, injuring 3 people, destroying several vehicles, and damaging dozens of businesses. Nashville Police Chief John Drake.
There's about 40 buildings that's been impacted, and so those buildings will have to be cleared through our codes.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee said in a Twitter post that it was a miracle that no one was killed in the blast. In a letter to President Donald Trump, Lee requested a federal emergency declaration for his state to aid in relief efforts.
Millions of Americans are about to see their jobless benefits expire Saturday, as U.S. President Donald Trump has so far refused to sign a $2.3 trillion pandemic relief and spending package, arguing it did not do enough to help everyday people. The president surprised Republicans and Democrats last Tuesday when he threatened not to sign the coronavirus relief bill, which includes extending special unemployment benefits, after the House and Senate passed the legislation with overwhelming bipartisan support. Trump on Saturday tweeted, "I simply want to get our great people $2,000 rather than the measly $600 that is now in the bill. Also, stop the billions of dollars in pork." Trump has complained that the $600 one-time stimulus check for millions of Americans were too small and that the bill doles out too much money to special interests, cultural projects, and foreign aid. While many economists agree the aid is not enough, they say immediate financial support is a must. Without the president's signature, about 1.4 million people stand to lose those extra unemployment benefits, according to Labor Department data. And unless Congress can agree on a stopgap government funding bill, a partial government shutdown will begin on Tuesday. Trump, who is scheduled to remain at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, has not vetoed the bill and could still sign it in coming days. Democratic Congressman Don Beyer told CNN if Trump signed the bill Saturday, it would mean, quote, that the people on pandemic unemployment insurance, which runs out today, get to keep it. Congress, which normally is adjourned the last week of December, will be preparing to return to work. The Democratic-controlled House plans to vote on legislation providing one-time $2,000 checks to individuals.
Voting was underway in Niger on Sunday, in an election that is expected to result in the West African nation's first transfer of power between 2 democratically elected presidents. Niger has experienced 4 coups since gaining independence from France in 1960, and a smooth transfer of power would be considered a rare bright spot for a country blighted by widespread poverty and militant violence. President Mamadou Issoufou is stepping down after 2 5-year terms and described Sunday as a special day that he hoped would solidify Niger's reputation as a democratic country in Africa and the world. His departure stands in sharp contrast with Ivory Coast and Guinea, whose presidents this year used constitutional changes to extend their tenures to 3 terms, raising fears of a democratic backslide in West Africa. Former Nigerian Interior Minister Mohamed Bazoum is the ruling party's candidate. If, as predicted, he succeeds Issoufou, then he'll inherit significant challenges. Amid escalating violence in the Sahel, Niger has suffered repeated attacks from militants linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. More than 40% of its population lives in extreme poverty, and global lockdowns have slowed growth, compounding the effects of climate change and low prices for uranium, Niger's top export.
It's a fast food joint, ancient Roman style. Archaeologists have uncovered a street food stall in Pompeii, the city buried by a volcanic eruption in 79 AD. The kiosk was discovered in a part of the site not open to the public and unveiled Saturday. Park director Massimo Ossana says it's the first time a whole one has been unearthed. He says traces of nearly 2,000-year-old food were even found in some terracotta jars. They will be analysed to see what kind of food Pompeii pedestrians favoured. The front of the counter is decorated with colourful frescoes, some depicting the meats on offer. Archaeologists also found a bronze drinking bowl, cooking utensils and some bones. Pompeii was home to around 13,000 people when it was buried under ash. The ruins were discovered in the 16th century, with organised excavations starting in 1750. Around two-thirds of the site has since been uncovered, with Pompeii now one of modern Italy's most popular attractions.